We knew the risk. Thayer knew the risk. And he said, that's okay. I'm okay with whatever it takes. I want to be a Gibbons. I am Emilie, and at 19, I was married. At 21, I had Thayer. Unfortunately, his father and I were not able to stay married, and we did divorce after that due to some infidelity and some substance abuse on his part. By age 2, Thayer saw his biological father for the last time. That was in 2011, and so while everyone else was living post-college life and starting their careers, I was a divorced single mom, 100% caretaker, 24/7, 365. When 100% of the decision-making weighs on you, you have to be careful about who you let into that inner circle. You have to be careful about who is coming in and out, because it's not just you. Everything you do affects that child. And a friend once told me, you date to marry, and I didn't get that for a long time. But there's always these telling signs when something's not right, when someone doesn't accept your situation, your child, your baggage, the pain that you've experienced, and you know this couldn't work long term. They don't love my child the way that I do. They don't get that we come as a package. When I met Johny, I knew things were different. First off, he offered to pay for a babysitter, and that had never been done before. I had had people offer for people they knew to babysit, or said, well, can't your mom just watch him? And our first dinner date, without asking how much it was, who it was, anything about it, he said, I want to pay for your babysitter. And that took me by surprise. And that's when I knew something was different. And then as we dated, he was always concerned about when Thayer would know that we were dating. Does he know? Is he okay with it? How do you want him to meet me? And everything was up to me, because I knew Thayer best. And they did meet, and they got along well.
So I tried not to push too hard to meet him. So when she came to me and said that she wanted to meet Thayer, it was one of the best days of my life. The first time I saw Thayer, he came in the restaurant, and I said, hey, how's it going? We did that, and then the first question I asked him, he had just gotten back from camp, and I asked him how was camp, and after that I get about 15 minutes straight of knowledge about camp and all the details and inner workings of the camp and everything to do with the camp told to me. And from that moment on, I really fell in love with Thayer. My favorite thing about Thayer is his curiosity. He loves math, he loves science. He says he doesn't love history, but we can talk about history for hours. Whether he says war history, that's history.
Yeah.
So his love of knowledge and intellect is my favorite thing about him. And then also we love to fish, love fishing with Thayer.
Yes. I'm fishing with you. It's always very fun. See your love. You love me a lot, no matter what I do. Even if I make you really, really mad.
Yeah.
Let's see. You're always funny. You're always funny. Say funny things. I'm not saying you're like, you always like say funny things.
Funny looking too.
You're not funny looking.
From there, as we dated and Johny would come over and watch TV, eat dinner with us, it was always he left before Thayer went to bed. Thayer saw him leave our house every night. And that sounds real crazy and probably doesn't make sense unless you're a single mom, but it was so important that Thayer knew there were boundaries and that he got his mom at bedtime, just like always. Nothing changed. And so many times throughout our dating, there were those moments where Johny made sure nothing was changing with me and Thayer as he was coming alongside us on this journey.
I think that a lot of the attributes that both of us had when we started dating came from our relationships with God, which mine at the time was better than it had ever been in my life. And I think a strong amount of empathy came with that and really led a lot of my decision making at the time. A lot of it too was my upbringing and the family that I came from with brothers and sisters, and my dad, who is probably the most thoughtful person and the best leader that I've ever known. And so I think God really led me to rely on those experiences when we were first dating, to be empathetic towards the needs that she would have as a single mother.
Even when we talked about getting married, he asked Thayer. He asked me if he could take Thayer to dinner, and they went to dinner, and he asked Thayer if it was okay to ask me to marry him.
So when we got engaged, it was very important to me to make Thayer feel as if he had a role in the decision making of that, and that his approval was sought after. I felt like that was really important. So Thayer and I went to a Japanese steakhouse, and he ordered about $100 worth of food, and I paid for it. And asked him if I could marry his mom, and he was real excited about that, and said yes. And I explained to him what that meant for he and I if he chose to one day let me officially be his dad.
Thayer was a part of everything. Thayer was a part of the engagement. He was a part of saying yes. He was a full part of the wedding and everything that was involved. And that was so important because he knew he was gaining someone, not losing someone. And Johny was always so respectful of, if Thayer wants to call me dad, he can. If one day he wants to be adopted, that's great. Whatever Thayer wants to do, however Thayer wants to handle this. The only thing he did ask was that he go from Mr. Johny to Johny once we got married. He was like, can I just be Johny? And that was it. Everything else was all in Thayer's hands. And that meant the world to me because he respected that Thayer had been with me for 9 years, and then all of a sudden this man comes in, this amazing man who is in this father figure role. But this father figure role was completely new to Thayer. He didn't know what that was. He had never had a father figure. It was great to see as time went on. It went from Johny to this is my dad when he would introduce Johny, to interchanging Johny and dad, and then finally just dad.
The first time Thayer called me dad was his 10-year-old birthday party, and I remember it very well. I was cooking hamburgers on the grill, and I felt like he really wanted to just try it out because he knew at that point that he could call me that. And I remember him yelling so everyone could hear and said, "Hey Dad, when will the hamburgers be ready?" So that was the first time he called me dad. Before this, he gave me a hug and told me he loved me for the first time as well. So it was a good day. When Liam was about a year old, Thayer came to us and told us that he was ready to be adopted and that he wanted to be a Gibbons. So we were incredibly excited and emotional, but also somewhat scared at the same time of how that process was going to go.
After so many years of silence, it's a little nerve-wracking to think we're about to poke the bear, because it had been silent for a while and we knew the risk. Thayer knew the risk, He knew that we may have to go to court. He knew that he may have to see or talk to his biological father. We talked through everything so that there wouldn't be any surprises. Worst case scenario came about. And so we started the process, and of course this was the beginning of COVID, and so everything shut down, and that kind of postponed everything. And then we were trying to find the right lawyer that understood what we wanted, would listen to me and my concerns about how we approach things. And that's how we found Sam. That's how Johny found Sam.
Yeah, so, and also to add to that, it was a time in our lives when everything was going very well. We were happy with our family. We were happy how everything was going. Thayer already called me Dad. So part of us thought, had to weigh the risk and reward of, would it be worth risking messing the relationship up if something were to happen? So we had to pray about that, and we did, and we had people at our church praying for us, and God really guided it and put it on our hearts that He wanted Thayer to be at Gibbons.
And we knew when the right time came, he would push forward with it, and he did. And he said, that's okay. I'm okay with whatever it takes. I want to be a Gibbons. And that so much reflects on Johny as much as it does his family, because they completely immersed us. We were engaged, and they were including Thayer in the grandchildren pictures. They treated him equally among their grandchildren, and they had just met this kid. And it was amazing to see that, and Thayer felt that love, and he felt that love from Johny, and that's how he was able to make that decision. I want to be in this family. This is my family.
So the first time we got to see Thayer's name called publicly was at his AB honor roll ceremony, and it was a really, really great day because we were sitting there and we got to hear them call out Thayer Gibbons, and just the look on his face, the look on his teacher's face, because his teachers knew the situation was amazing, and it was hard not to start crying. The biggest thing I've learned from being a father, especially to Thayer, is about God's love for us. You know, you read about God's love and you know about it from the Bible, but to experience something like that is something really special, and it's something that I haven't ever experienced until I became Thayer's dad.
I'm Thayer Gibbons, Johny Gibbons' son.